If you took every holy book there's ever been, every religious book, every bits of spirituality, and hid them or destroyed them, okay? They went away and never, right? And then you took every science book and destroyed that. In 1,000 years' time, those science books would be back exactly the same, because the tests would always turn out the same.
Right.
Those religious books will either never exist or they'd be totally different, because there's no test.
So the argument here is that if all human knowledge was wiped out and we had to start completely fresh, that we would not come to have the same understanding of God or spirituality, but we would come to have the same understanding of the sciences and scientific laws. But this is an assertion that ultimately can't be proven and isn't necessarily true, because part of our understanding, what we believe as Christians, is part of our understanding of God comes from his self-revelation in history. And it's through God's acts in history that we come to know about his existence, about his character, his desire for us to be in relationship with him and how we walk in a relationship with him. Now, the particulars of, the stories that we have about God, those would change because he acts in history. And so our stories would be now about him acting in this hypothetical future history, right? Stories of him acting with particular people. We wouldn't have stories about Moses because we wouldn't know who Moses is. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't have stories about God acting in particular ways through particular people, revealing himself in that history, that would bring us to the same understanding of a God who created the heavens and the earth, a God who created humanity, a God who desires humanity to walk with him. Even the reality of human brokenness and sin and our need for salvation. All of those things, presumably, God would still be able to reveal to us by acting in history, so we could come to the same knowledge of the same God, though our language around that and stories about that would be different. So this is an assertion, but it's not necessarily a true assertion. I think that it is reasonable to think that we would come to a knowledge of the same God, the same characteristics of God, the same attributes of God, even if our particular stories might be different because our history is different. God is the same, and so our understanding of that God would be the same.